So, um, after the conversation was over, I was not in a state where I couldn't stay in the house, and I was about to break down crying. Um, I had one of my very, very close friends in high school who lived in my neighborhood. So I called him up and kind of told him that things didn't go over very well with my parents, and he told me to come on over right away. And I told my parents that I was going out, and fortunately, they understood and let me leave the house because I told them I was going over to my friend's house in the neighborhood. And so yeah, they let me, and I went. And I spent the rest of the evening crying on his bed, and I knew that I couldn't let that I couldn't let it end with just that. So the next evening, I did go and over dinner talk to my parents again, and this time I said, "Mom, Dad, I really want to talk to you again about what we discussed yesterday. And the reason I want to talk about it again is because I understand that there were a lot of things that you guys wanted to say. I understand that there were a lot of things that you wanted to express and wanted to tell me, wanted to inform me, wanted to, you know, I know that you're very upset, and I know there's a lot of feelings that you wanted to, um, that you just needed to express. But I feel you have to understand that this is something I've been kind of keeping internally for me for 7 years. This is something I was struggling with 7 years. And I finally wanted to actually tell you how I felt. I finally wanted to tell you the things that I've been going through my head, and the things that I've wanted to tell you, for 7 years, and finally had this opportunity, but you guys never gave me that opportunity. I only got to say maybe 2 or 3 sentences the whole night, and then nothing. Um, and I feel that that was a little unfair. And I would like to try again, and maybe you guys would be open to listening to what I have to say and to what I feel. I think after I said that, my parents pretty much let me speak, and they did. They let me say my piece. Probably went on for a good hour, and both my mom and dad, they listened to me. Um, and in the end, they still expressed that they were against it. They still expressed that um, they did not agree with it, which is perfectly fine. Like, my purpose for coming out to them was not to change their minds. That is not the reason I came out to them. I was not, I don't even want to say that I necessarily was looking for their approval. As terrible as that might sound to a lot of you. That wasn't the point. The point was I was their son, and this is something that I'm dealing with, and this is a part of me. It's not the most important part of me. It's not what I consider a defining part of me, but it is a part of me, and out of respect to them, I thought they should know. I was just informing them. I I love my mom dearly because she has such a very strong set of morals and values. And a lot of it is because of religion, a lot of it is because of her faith, and I respect that a lot. And because of this, I would never ask my mom to change her beliefs or to change her morals or values any more than I would want her to ask me to change my beliefs, to change my morals and my values. You know, maybe if we were to learn to agree to disagree, we'd be willing to discuss it and at least see where each other stands and kind of put ourselves in the other people's shoes. Because that's really what I'd like to believe I'm very good at, is even if I disagree with you, that doesn't mean I'm not going to take the time to try to understand you and try to see where you're coming from. And from there, for the next several years, um, we just pretended that it wasn't there, that we never had that conversation. Um, I have a great had still do have a great relationship with my parents. I mean, we hang out, we joke around, you know, we talk. I mean, it's not like there was this big giant rift that almost formed between my parents. Not like that at all. It's just there was this unspoken understanding that neither of us would bring it up because it was such a touchy subject. Now, you guys can argue whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. But for me, I think that my parents needed some time to get used to the idea. They needed some time to digest it. Um, I was perfectly willing to talk about it. I just don't think that they necessarily were. And so, you know, I want to be patient because I love my parents to death. I want to be patient for them and just give them the time that they need to get their heads wrapped around it. Um, and again, ultimately, they don't need to agree with it. I just hope that someday we can agree to disagree. Hopefully. I just wanted to make it very clear that I always, that I do definitely love my parents. They're not terrible parents by any means. A lot of my personality that I like about myself, I think I got from my mom and dad. My mom especially. And I think, honestly, the reason that they're struggling with this, because my mom has told me this herself, is she believes, for whatever reason, that it was her fault, that somehow she and dad didn't raise me properly, somehow something went wrong. And I told them, trust me, you guys did nothing wrong. I think I came out pretty darn well. I don't think that this had anything to do with the way that you raised me whatsoever. Um, and as silly as that might sound to a lot of people, I think a lot of parents who um, who are struggling with their kids' sexuality, at some point, you know, it crosses their mind, what did I do? What did I do wrong? You know, so I almost feel like my mom was never really angry at me or upset at me. I almost feel like she's actually, in a way, angry at herself and upset at herself. And she said such to me before. And I've tried to to convince her otherwise. So hopefully she she believes it. She believes me when I say that. It's it's not your fault. So anyway, that was me coming out to my parents. Hopefully it wasn't ridiculously boring. And I don't know if any of you guys have had similar experiences, uh, but yeah. So until next time, love yourselves and love each other.